I was born in May of 1953, raised in Chestnut Hill and on the main line, where I was living when I was the age that I went to Woodstock. So it was like the summer of before I went into 11th grade. I was dating a guy from Lawrenceville, and he called me up and said that he had tickets for this 3-day festival that was going to take place in the Hudson Valley, upstate New York. The actual concert took place in Bethel, an hour and a half away, when they found a farm. This was a very new concept. It's not like now you say festival and you go to a certain place or whatever. And it was in the 60s when our generation was very frustrated with conventional system. We were in an unpopular war in Vietnam, and it was also the first generation that lived with the knowledge that somebody pushes a button, the whole world can blow up. People were looking for something different. There was, I guess, attitude that was kind of pervading the whole time of going against the establishment and doing things like this. But it was really the first major festival of its kind. So my friend calls me and says, "Do you want to go?" Well, I didn't even know what it was, okay? But I knew for me to get away 3 days with my boyfriend would require me doing something behind my mother's back, which I did. That we bought tickets. I mean, they were $35 for 3 days. It was billed as 3 days of peace and music, because they were expecting, I think, 60,000, maybe as much as 100,000, and they got 500,000 people. We had to abandon our car about 5 miles from the festival. This was a very unique thing, and nobody knew it was going to turn into something that it did. From all the rain, the stage was hot, so meaning that it was electrified, and a lot of the performers did not want to go on. People would be climbing those towers in front of the stage and getting shocks, and just trying to find a place to go to the bathroom or any decent food, because they ran out of food. Dealing with the fact that it rained constantly, everywhere you went was a mudslide. It wasn't a pretty picnicky thing. You were this close to the next person. There was no space. So we slept right where we sat all day. Wow. Just the first time people were writing rock and roll with a story. That period kind of woke up my artist side more. What we were all feeling back then was that we could be anything we wanted to be. Through a lot of confusion into society for a really long time. And he has a side of him that's kind of a free-spirited side. So I'd have to say I also have that side, and I think it was something that we had permission to do. That's what was happening back then. Rebelling against all institutions because they had completely failed top to bottom. So that included our parents. Promoters of all the festivals after that will constantly try to recreate the same thing, and it couldn't be done. They know what they need to have in place now to have a successful concert. they have taken the original site and made it into a fantastic concert venue. I'm sorry, you know, I made my mother upset, but that's about the only regret I have, is that I got my mom upset. You said you went to Woodstock. It was like you had walked on holy ground.